Good morning, guys. Welcome to Tuesday's FRT Gold live video. Hope you're all doing well and had a decent enough Monday. Hope you're all doing okay. Decent enough day for us yesterday. Or it was actually a break-even day. It was we had a 5-2 winning next best bet of the day, which saw 5 points profit. But then, unfortunately, the premium tip and a 1 point single were both in second place, so we got a little unlucky there, and the little earner couldn't quite do the business. So in the end, we ended up breaking even, which was a bit disappointing considering we got off to a flyer with that next best bet. But as the old saying goes, if you can't win them, make sure you don't lose. And I know plenty of you just do the premium tip and the next best bet, so you'd have been fairly happy there yesterday. But hopefully we can have a couple more winners today, and the premium tip and the next best bet, of course, the main ones. But once again, we've got a 1 point win only single and a little earner as well. So hopefully we can have a decent day today. A reminder that this is a live Q&A session. If you did fancy joining in, any questions about any of today's tips or any of the big meetings coming up, anything like that, please do feel free to get in touch. Even if you're not watching this video live, if maybe you're watching it on your lunch break or something like that, don't forget you can always get in touch via Facebook. It's facebook.com/groups/FRT Gold. And then don't forget you can also email me, joe@freeracingtips.co.uk, or get in touch via Twitter. We're at the handle @freeracingtips7. So plenty of ways for you to get in touch. Please do feel free to do just that. A difficult looking Tuesday today. I went live, but one that I think we can have a few winners from. We've got 5 meetings in total. We raced from Chepstow. They're back over jumps today, the start of the national hunt season for Chepstow. We're also racing from Ayr as well, Fairy House over in Ireland. We go over jumps at Sedgefield as well, and then this evening a 6-race card from Wolverhampton on the Tapeta surface under floodlights there. So plenty of action taking place, and hopefully a day where we can have a few winners. Reminder, do get in touch if you have got any questions at all. But what we're going to do now, we'll go through today's tips and then just see if there's any sort of racing news or anything that really grabs our attention. And if you've got anything that you want to bring up, you all know the ways to get in touch. So the premium tip, have to wait a little while for this one because it does go on the Tapeta surface at Wolverhampton this evening, and our tip here is Sure Thing, and that's currently a currently at 6-4 at the moment for Sure Thing. Was at 13-8 when first tipped, now a 6-4 shot, and that 6-4 is best price rather than a general price. Generally you're looking at around about the 11-8 mark. Stan James even short as 5-4 at the moment, so decent enough support for Sure Thing, which is always a good sign in these maiden races and these races for 2-year-olds where the market can give plenty of clues. And I did always think that this horse will be backed in. That's proved to be the case at the moment, but that's not to say that it won't drift out a little bit later on. Don't be surprised if that happens. A lot of the time you do see the money come for a horse early in the morning. Then once all the money's down and the layers come out and think the horse is a bit short, which it probably is now, it should be a 13-8 shot is what we tipped it at. So 11-8 is a little bit short. Some layers might come out and you might see a little bit of a drift before the off as well. But yes, hopefully we can have another premium tip winner today with Sure Thing. Now, this horse runs for Tom Dascombe, and his yard's in really good form at the moment. So Richard Kingscote's the man on board, and he's got a really good record in maidens, actually. And an interesting stat, I think it came from Timeform. Richard Kingscote is actually the best jockey at getting a horse to settle, which in these races can be key. These 2-year-olds can often be really, really keen in races and throwing their heads around. And Richard Kingscote, I think, actually has, the softest hands or just a way of settling a horse. And I think that's really positive when he's on a much fancied horse in a maiden like this. The horse has also got a house in form as well, and he finished in 4th place on both occasions so far, and both of those have been fairly decent performances, and just a slight improvement on them would probably be enough to see him take this one. I think the horse will enjoy the Tapeta surface, and yeah, if he improves again, I think this 2-year-old has every chance of doing this and does look to be a decent bet for Tom Dascombe and Richard Kingscote. Right, we'll move on now to the next best bet of the day, and that goes in the 2-10 at Ayr. So the first race there at Ayr today, decent looking card from Ayr as always, and really competitive as always as well. And our tip here is Old Fifi or Old Fifi, and that's currently around about the 4-1 mark at the moment. So gone for a bit of go for a bit of value with the next best bet today, but I think it does look to be a decent bet. Now, this horse ran in much better company here last time out, and although was last of 4 on that day, was a 66-1 shot, I think, and wasn't too far behind the eventual winners, and actually he ended up outrunning Price despite being last of 4. I think many would have expected the horse to be tailed off a fair way, and that wasn't actually the case. I think it was only about 4 lengths or so behind the eventual winner, which is a really decent performance as well. And I think the horse looks to be quite well treated on our very best form, and has the ability to take this one. Looks to be good value at 4-1. It is a competitive race, there's no doubt about that, but I think that performance last time out was impressive. This is a big drop down in class, there's no doubt about that. The 7 furlongs on this good to firm ground, absolutely ideal, I'd say. And yeah, 4-1 looks to be good value for me. And Ryan Powell, who's a decent enough jockey, he's taking off for £3 as well, which means the horse races off 9 stone 1, and that could be vital. Just yeah, could be fairly well treated with that £3 claim to take in as well. So I think that's a good next best bet of the day there in that 210 at Ayr. The Little Earner, that also goes at Ayr, but it goes in the penultimate race of the day. There's an 8-race card from Ayr today, actually, so a really busy day from there. And it's in the 5:30 return for our Little Earner today. And our tip here is True Pleasure. Now, this horse was at 10-1 when first tipped, now currently a 9-1 shot. So not so much a market move, but a little bit of a nibble in the market for the horse. And that's always a decent enough sign. Still fairly on in the day and still a while to go to this race, just over 6 hours or so. So be interesting to see how that market develops and whether that nibble in the market then does turn into, you know, a bit of a gamble. Who knows? But this horse was a winner over course and distance earlier in the season, and that's always vital at these kind of tracks. And although it was raised a fair bit in the handicap for that, has actually come down a couple of pounds as well now. Was, I think, rated around about 81 and is now racing off 78. And I think that could be vital after a couple of poor runs, but I think those poor runs, maybe not on the most ideal surfaces or anything like that, but perhaps just a couple of pounds now that he has in hand could be vital coming into this one. Now racing, as I say, off the mark of 78. Yeah, those last 3 runs, sorry, they came at or disappointing ones came at Thirsk, Pontefract, and York. And I just think perhaps a track like Ayr might just suit the horse a little bit more. I think although that last win came on a good to soft surface, I actually think that it has won on good to firm before, and so that shows that the surface shouldn't be a problem. And on quicker ground, I think weight doesn't maybe make too much of a difference. It's not going to be much of a slog, and I think you're more likely to see one of the best horses win. And on ratings and things like that, I think this horse is right up there. That's True Pleasure in the 5:30 at Ayr. I think has an excellent chance of you know, getting in the places at the very least. I think this horse has more than enough quality to finish in the top 3. The 1 point win only single for today, just the one of them, but it goes in the 2 o'clock at Chepstow, the first race of the day, and it's Parish Business. Now, this horse is actually a little bit weak in the market at the moment. Was at 2-1 when first tipped, now currently around about the 9-4 mark, although that 9-4 price is general, but some bookies are at 2-1 and some are even at 15-8. So a bit of a difference of opinion here, and perhaps a market where there's just a few little squeezes around and nothing really significant. And, you know, some bookies are getting more money for different horses and things like that. So that's another market that will be interesting to see. But I would think my instinct tells me that Parish Business will go off around about 2-1, similar to the tip that was priced out. But I'm never too worried. Of course, you want to see a market support, your market move for your horses, because then other people have the same idea as you, and perhaps there's a bit more substance to your argument. But on the other side, I'm never put off too much by a drifter. Sometimes the layers can just come. Sometimes there's an unnecessary gamble, and I'd like to know the amount of profit we've gained from tipping horses at maybe say 2-1 and going off at 11-4, 3-1, and still doing the business. You know, as long as you know, the horse doesn't. I think the time where you do start to get worried is in the preliminaries, where if the horse is, you know, really edgy in the paddock or something like that, then you can start to think actually maybe there's not too much. And if the market reacts to that as well, and if the exchange prices are really rising, but at the moment I wouldn't be put off too much by that that the horse being 9-4 generally. But as I say, if you bet with Betfred, you'd be looking at it and seeing, I tipped it at 2-1. You might go now and you'll see us at 15-8. So that's a big difference there. But yeah, not always be too put off by a drifter, I would say. So they're the 4 tips for today. Hopefully we can have some winners there. Of course, as I said, the premium tip and the next best bet, the main hopes for the day. But then the other couple would be a nice little bonus as well. It'd be good to have a real bumper day. We've had a lot of good days over the last week or so. We had a good one on last Wednesday with a premium tip next best double that paid nearly 14 to 1. But I think we're due a real bumper day. You know, 3 or 4 winners out of the 4. That would be superb. But yeah, looking forward to today's action. Actually, looking forward to the return of action from Chepstow. Of course, they host some really big meetings at Chepstow. The Welsh Grand National just after Christmas is always a really big one there, and the start of their national hunt season on the final day here of September, the final day of the month. Can't quite believe it, but hopefully you've all enjoyed September and being part of FRT Gold, and hopefully you've had plenty of winners to boot as well. But yeah, that's just about it for today's video. There'll be one once again tomorrow, and we can kind of start looking ahead to the ARC tomorrow. I think tomorrow and Thursday especially, then really can on Friday and Saturday as well. But yeah, looking forward to that. But in terms of today's video, that's just about it. Thank you all for watching. Remember, any questions, even if you're not watching this video live, do feel free to get in touch. It'd be great to hear from you. But thanks for watching today, and I'll speak to you all a little bit later on. Bye-bye.